wax cold. That means a point will come when people will begin to struggle to pray. When you say music concert, you will need 10 overflows. But when you say prayer meeting or vigil, you may need to stack half of the chairs in church. Because anything that has to do with spiritual energy, you will discover that many are weak. They can sit down, cross their legs, watch a movie for 10 hours. But tell them, let's pray for 20 minutes. You will discover how rusty many have become. The reason is because of iniquity. Because we are in a generation where when you open Facebook, you will be welcomed by a naked woman. When you open even my writing pad, where I take note, this is not a chat site. This is a writing pad on my phone. I finish writing. I want to close my writing pad. An advert pops up and you see a naked person. And then you say, what is going on? It's the spirit of the age. So they want to sell razor blade. They use a man bare-chested with pant. How does pant advertise razor blade? It is to weaken you. I was speaking about the reality show called Big Brother Naija the other time. I'm not against reality TV. There are many noble reality TVs where they task human intellect, they task human endurance. They hunt things, they search things, you see endurance, they leave them signs where they think creatively and tactically, they explore their energy to find out, they win task, and they win the profit. I'm not against reality show. But when you begin to legalize pornography, then there's a problem. And then you find gullible Christians for 3 months. Big Brother Naija is playing non-stop. Then they come, they are saying, how can a married woman sleep with somebody? That means we have deteriorated to a level where it wouldn't have been a problem if she was not a married woman. I looked, they were complaining that lady, she's married. She came and slept with somebody. So if she were not married, it wouldn't have been a problem. To let you know the level of decadence. Once upon a time, in this same society, when you are dressed carelessly, people abhor you. Now, people can kiss on reality show. It's normal. Single people can have open intimacy on reality TV. It's normal. It's only married people we are offended with. And because that threshold have been crossed, the next edition is two married women that will sleep, and it will no longer be a problem. You don't know that we are graduating in iniquity. And then the younger and innocent generation who don't know what is going on, 9 years old, 8 years old, 7 years old, they cross their leg and they are watching. What done? And then we mentor them and train them in the path of iniquity. And you think such men can have spiritual stamina. That's why we are good movie watchers. We are good football analysts. We are good club dancers. But when we come to ascend in the spirit, many can't even ascend above the ceiling of the building where they are in. When you say, let's pray, shabba, 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 shabba. They now sit down, put their hand on their face, and they are doing like this. You think they are in the spirit. When you come close, you discover the person is snoring in prayer meeting. Because the love of many will what? Wax cold. Because iniquity will abound. Iniquity will abound. I went for a pastor's meeting. And because we had so much to discuss, we said, okay, let's just charge our spirit for 4 hours. I said pastor's meeting. Meanwhile, at this level now, we are not supposed to be praying with time. The only reason we should pause is because somebody has picked something and is bringing us a message from heaven. Because at this time, our prayer should be gauged by the realities with traffic. Because we expect that many can ascend. We came for pastor's meeting. After 30 minutes, people were snoring everywhere. The senior pastor was so troubled. He had to tell some pastors to stand on their chair. In a prayer meeting, they had to tell pastor, because wake up. Oh, after 20 minutes ago. That's somebody that is a shepherd over a congregation. They had to tell them, stand on your plastic chair. And a pastor is standing because he has not mastered sleep. I'm not talking about sin. Sleep. A man of God have not conquered sleep. So much so that even in a prayer meeting, sleep is ruling over him. He said, the love of many will wax gold. Meanwhile, there are many people that preaching, it's a distraction. They are looking for time because they want to seek God. They say there are great and mighty things that they want to search for in the spirit. John said, John, I was in the isle called Patmos, and I heard a voice as of a trumpet. And what did the voice tell him? Revelation 4 verse 1. He said, come up hither. I will show you things that will happen hereafter. There are many men that are already experiencing the things that will happen in the world to come. We have not even been able to conquer this present world. This present evil world have mastered some of us. Whereas there are some men that are walking out of this world to see the things in the world to come. And we say we are all apostles. If you call yourself an apostle where John is, they will punish you. Because you don't know the meaning of an apostle. An apostle is a sent man. It's the one who carries the burden of the kingdom as a message. Because he has seen the one that dwells in the spirit. So he communicates his oracles. He's not a Bible school teacher. He's a witness to his generation. And the only way you can witness to your generation is when you can see the things hereafter. These men love God so much that even in pain, they were not distracted. He said, I, Ezekiel, in the 30th year, and on the 4th month, and on the 5th day, I was among the captives by the river Kabar. And I saw visions of God. The man was not praying, Lord, save us, save us. There are certain men that when they are arrested, they are looking for how to convert the terrorists. It's an opportunity to preach to them about Jesus. But we are begging, help me. No. May God baptize many of us with the spirit of martyrdom. Our conviction will convert terrorists. You know, when that guy pierced Jesus, and Jesus did not break, even in death, he said, truly, this is the Son of God. There is a level of dogged conviction that you will manifest, that your captors will become your disciples. They took you to kill you, but you will walk out of the forest with them as disciples, because you showed them something that the God they believe in could not show them. When they think they will break you, you become stronger. And then they will know that what powers you is not from this realm. Because iniquity will abound, the love of many will wax cold. So people come to worship God in church. They think it's fashion. They think it's time for a show. Somebody is worshiping God. He wants to kill himself as if she's doing beauty pageantry. She doesn't know that she is on holy ground. She needs to be sensitive to find out the movements of the spirit. Her first assignment, or his first assignment, is to align with that motion. Because until he finds that motion, he can't bless the people. But iniquity will abound. So a pastor will spend the whole night ironing his suit and his tie. Even the few hours he has in the morning, he will need to polish his shoe. And then when he's coming to church, he's strolling. He's more conscious of time. And then even when he's preaching, he's conscious of how he's standing. Because he's an educated man. He's an elite. He won't move. He is coordinated. He's coordinated. Meanwhile, nothing is being piped down from heaven. But it doesn't matter. He can stop the move of the spirit if the camera setting is not sharp. He can stop the move of the spirit if the light, the color combination is not good. Because he's more conscious about the background than the move of the spirit. Is anything wrong with excellence? No. But we know value and we know spiritual cadres. And Jesus told us in verse 13, Matthew 24, he said, they that endure to the end. He didn't say they that escape. You know, when you say great awakening, I need to show you the things that will befall us. And I need to tell you the place that we will possibly go to. When you come to a doctor, there is diagnosis, there is prognosis, and then there is treatment. Diagnosis is to tell you the cause of the problem. Prognosis is to tell you the possible outcome. Then treatment can take place. The awakening is not just a shout. We need to show us where we are and the things that is possible to be before the church. And those of you that don't need many stories. You're already walking in it. But it's not enough to hope that God will come, because there are many times when God may not come. Because they that endure, they will be saved. So while you are enduring, there are weapons you need. Because endurance doesn't mean kill me, I will be here. Sometimes endurance means you learn how to bilocate. So when the enemy comes, they have surrounded the church. All of a sudden, pastor say, everybody bow your heads. He wants to activate a dimension. And when everybody bow their heads, they become invincible. Shoot from morning till night, you won't find anybody there. When they finish and they go, we will be in our home. We have actually endured. Because enduring must not be death. Enduring sometimes can be tapping into divine frequencies. But for us to walk that level of power, there are things in the spirit that we must access. If I ask you today, what is your greatest possession? What will you mention? You have been a Christian for 10 years and you have attended many programs. But what is your greatest asset? If your greatest asset is seeing money, it means you have no difference with a secular man. If your greatest asset today is a man, it means you are in trouble. Because when we are awakened, our greatest asset will no longer be natural things. Some of us, our greatest asset will become prayer. So when things go wrong, just give us 5 minutes. When we begin to pray, we can change the paradigm. We have found a wealth that cannot be bought. If you like, surround our house. You read the story of Elisha. When the enemy came in many chariots, Gehazi was afraid. Because Gehazi's assets were natural. But Elisha looked at him and said, no, we are not in trouble. They are the ones in trouble. You can't talk like that if your asset is in the bank. You can only talk like that if your asset is in the spirit. That an army comes against you and you look left and right, you are only two. Elisha had sight. So he knew what was happening in the spirit that Gehazi didn't know. And when Gehazi wanted to trouble him, he said, Lord, give him the wealth that I have in the spirit. Open his eyes. And when his eyes opened, he saw round about them that there were chariots of fire. In the last days, your assets cannot be only natural. Yes, you will have natural assets, but you must have at least one spiritual asset. Either you have the eyes that see, or the ears that hear, or the mouth that prays, or the heart that understands. By all means, one of these 4 gates must open a spiritual dimension to you. If not, you will not endure to the end. The only way you can endure to the end is when you tap into spiritual advantage. Some of us, by hearing, we can become invincible. Some of us, by praying, we can outrun the chariots of Ahab. Some of us, by seeing, we can tap into bounties of the spirit that will make scarcity not to exist in our realm. But by all means, you must have an asset. Do you have the mouth that pray? And if you have the mouth that pray, what can that prayer bring to you? Because the goal is not just prayer. The goal is to command dimensions in the spirit. Do you have eyes that see? And if your eyes see, how deep and how far can you see? What can you command because of your sight? Because if you see him, you will be like him. Do you have ears that hear? If you have ears that hear, what can come to your realm because of the things you have downloaded through sound? Do you have hearts that understand? If you have a heart that understands, where can it take you? These are the assets of the last day. Because if we don't have it, then we are in trouble. And in order not to be in trouble, there is a need for an awakening. That the man that sleep will arise. He say, awake, thou that sleepeth, and Christ will give thee rest. There is a rest that is available, but you must be awakened in the spirit. Your life must not be a function of luck and chance. You must not exist at the mercy of your enemy. It shouldn't be said that we are here today because Boko Haram is not interested in this place. No. It should be said that we are here today because by the strength of the spirit, we have pushed back the armies of the alien. The Bible said Samuel erected an altar before the Lord, and he called that altar Ebenezer. And he said, so long as Samuel lived, the hand of God was perpetually against the Philistines. So the reason the Philistines did not attack Israel in the day of Samuel is not because it was not captured in their military intelligence. It's because Samuel stopped them by prayer. The assets we have by prayer is not how long we can pray. It's the things we can command through prayer. And if our generation pray, a day has come where men of prayer, who truly are men of prayer, can shift and put to flight the armies of the alien. And we know that if Nathaniel and Samuel and Philip are in the prayer meeting, then we are safe. Because when they pray, even lightning can fall from heaven. When they pray, the place is shaking, and the devil will feel the tremor of their prayer in the spirit. He will not come close. A day will come when we know that so long as Pastor Stephen Kobe is around, we will know when the enemy is coming. Because there is a sight that will tell us that the enemy is way off. Take safety. Take defense. Because somebody can see in the spirit. A day has come when we will know that there are those who hear in our midst. So when there is evil, they will tell us the direction that we should go. Like the sons of Issachar. They will have understanding of times and of seasons. And they will know what Israel ought to do because they can hear. And that day has come where men of understanding heart must rise among us and show us the counsel of God. There's a need for an awakening. The body of Christ is asleep. We don't have warriors anymore. We don't have strong men anymore. In the days of David, it wasn't a factor how many the enemies are. There were prophets like Samuel. There were prophets like Nathan. There were prophets like God. They could consult with the Urim and the Thummim. And they would tell David where the enemy is, how to fight. And because of their prophetic powers, David became invincible. And the Bible said, David said, the Lord taught my hands to fight and my fingers to war. David said, by my God, I ran through a troop. I leaped over a wall. David became an invincible immortal in his generation because he had eyes that see. If our churches today no longer have eyes that see, we will live in pains and in darkness. Let it not be said that we were taken unawares. There must be an awakening. There must be an awakening. There must be an awakening. Men who see must rise. Men who hear must rise. God was speaking in Jeremiah chapter 15 verse 1. He said, even if Moses and Samuel pray on this matter, I will not answer. Do you know why? That means there were men that existed in this world that when they pray, even if God did not have it in his program, God will have to include it. Because none of their words can fall to the ground. The men in the order of Moses and Samuel must rise again. So that even if the enemy have encompassed our habitation, these men can pray to heaven and the hand of God can come against them. Because when they pray, God cannot deny them. They have done business on the altar to a point where the heavens know their voice. And when such men pray, their words are law in the spirit. When those awakening come, men will become like gods. When we come to church, we will walk according to our ranks. We will be known according to the dimensions that we represent. and the church of Christ will become invincible again. That's why he said, blow the trumpet in Zion. Sound an alarm upon his holy mountains, that the habitations of the land may tremble, because the day of the Lord cometh. It says it's a day of darkness. But the problem is not the darkness and the gloominess, because when the darkness move, it says an army will rise. And he said they have never seen that kind of army, neither will they see such, even after the years of many generations. He said behind that army is a desolate wilderness. That means everything they pass over, they crumble it. There's no force that can withstand them. And he said before them is the garden of the Lord. That means they define what happens to them. He said even if they fall upon the sword.